Well, I gotta be honest, I knew this was gonna happen. I knew that the Bulls were eventually gonna make this move. Been a while since I made a basketball video, and it's been a crazy 36, 48 hours or so in the NBA. Obviously, you got the big headline with the Luka Doncic trade that the Dallas Mavericks did to the LA Lakers. That just looks really, really bad on Dallas's part, seeing that their first game without him, they got absolutely demolished, to put it lightly, by the Cavaliers on Sunday. And then later that night, the Chicago Bulls made a blockbuster trade that involved three teams, and Zach LaVine is no longer on the team anymore after eight, I would say, pretty solid seasons with the Chicago Bulls. Now, with me, I had a feeling that he was going to be traded. He was in the trade talks a lot over the past couple of seasons or so. So this doesn't really come as a surprise to me, but I'm not really big on the return that the Bulls got. But on the other hand, at least the Bulls chose a direction, for where they want their franchise to go. So, with me, I was always a big Zach LaVine fan. He got the short end of the stick a lot with the Bulls fan base, but I always stood in his corner. I was always a fan of him. He was a very good consummate professional. He's actually sixth all time in scoring in Bulls history, sixth all time with that. He actually holds the most three-pointers as a Chicago Bull all time. And even after all the injuries that he had, and even after all the setbacks that he had, he just was just the type of guy, didn't let it discourage him. He just let his career fall into place, and he just let it go from there. So it didn't let it bother him. So very good professionalism and maturity on Zach LaVine's part right there. Um, Now the thing with me is that I'm not a big fan of the return that the Bulls got in return for it, because you take a look at this trade. I mean, the Sacramento Kings are getting 6 draft picks out of this deal, while De'Aaron Fox is going to the San Antonio Spurs. And I think the Spurs right there, that really sets them forward. I mean, the Spurs, he complements Wemby real well over there. So the Spurs, I'm not going to say they're going to get back to the big three era there, but it's looking really good for them right now with this trade. And, you got a guy with us, like, where it's Zach LaVine, where he's the right fit and the right role on this team. You'd think that they could get a better return out of it. And, we also traded Alex Caruso, DeMar DeRozan, and Andre Drummond as well in the past. So it kind of left us wondering what direction are the Chicago Bulls going to be in, you know, because this was a team that was just floating around and not being good enough to make a deep run, but not terrible enough to tank either. And Vooch is probably going to be on his way next. So with me, this signifies that the Bulls are going to be going with their youth movement. They're going to be focusing on the younger players. They're going to give them a shot. They're going to be in the future a little bit more. We do get some cap relief back. I know that. And, knowing the extensions that are going to be due for us coming up, that does give us a little bit of leeway right there. And we did get our draft pick back, and we are able to keep it no matter what, because we have team control over our first round picks now. But with all that being said, the three players that we got in this trade, they're just not going to be a part of the future. And like I said, all the Bulls really did is that they just corrected their own mistake with this Zach LaVine trade. And with his contract, it was a big talking point as to which may sound like the better deal, and it may sound good to us right there, knowing that he's the type of guy that he is. In my opinion, he's an all-star caliber type of player. He's a good scorer, but he's also coming off a season where he had a season-ending injury and his value started to plummet. I think if the Bulls were to trade him a couple years ago or even last year, we could have gotten a way better return out of it. So, like I said, the weakened trade value, the all that, it hurt the return in my opinion. So that's why I'm not surprised to happen. It just happened a little too late in my opinion, you know. So what this means for the Bulls, I can finally have a little bit of a reason to be excited with them, because now you're sitting down here wondering that with what this trade happened with, is that what direction do the Bulls have? You know, I said about a week ago or so that this team doesn't really have a direction. They don't really have any sort of hope for the future, but now they kind of do, seeing that we have control of our first rounders and nothing's going to happen with them a whole lot. And now that we can draft smartly and we have these young and youthful players that we're hopeful for, and we can, you know, get a little bit of cap relief. So that's good right there. But all in all, the return, I think we could have done better. And that's why I'm sitting down here saying that, yeah, we traded LaVine. I kind of knew it was going to happen, but should have happened a little bit earlier, in my opinion. But yeah, I really enjoyed watching Zach LaVine. I really thought that he brought something to this offense. But now that you got Caruso, DeMar, and Drummond gone, and now LaVine and probably Vooch is next, just leaves you wondering, man, you know, what's next for the Chicago Bulls? Where do they go from here? With me, I think it's time for a very long overdue rebuild with the Chicago Bulls. So we'll go from there. Those are just my thoughts on it. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. And I'm Mac, checking on out for the day. Have a good one, everybody.